Hi everyone, our journal page, and I'm going to use one of the Painty papers I've done in the last video, and I'm not sure this was recorded, these colors, but it just I made it the same technique as the others that you saw me do on the video. Here are all the Painty papers, and today I'm going to use it as my starter background. So I want to start with some very soft stenciling. I've picked this stencil that I made, and it really doesn't matter because I want it very subtle on this. It's going to be part of the background. I don't want it to steal the show. So I've picked several distress inks and oxide that will correspond with the colors I have here. I've picked this and this. I'm not sure which one will work. I'm always weary from using pink, so we'll see. And I just want to use this makeup brush to add interest and detail to my background. And I'm going to use, like, if I have green here, then that's what I'm going to use here. It's going to be very subtle. Don't know how much of it you can see, but I will lift the stencil like so. Very, very subtle. So on the green area, I'm doing the green. I'm switching now to this shaded lilac. This was bundled sage, and I'm continuing doing the same thing here. It's not that important that the purple will be on the purple. I'm just wanting this to look like this, very soft in the background. So that's what I'm going to do, and my stencil just moved. So I'm continuing doing this, and of course I will switch to either this pink raspberry or seedless preserve for when I'm reaching this area. And I'm also planning to just take my stencil and do more leaves in the other areas. I want all this background covered with these soft leaves in. So that's what I'm going to continue doing, and I'll be back. I'm back, and I finished doing this, and I really like it. As I told you before when I made the video with how to do the Painty papers, you can work on them, and this doesn't have to be a background. You can use it as collage paper, as anything. You can punch shapes out of it, cut it, tear it, do whatever you want. So but this is going to be my background. I want to add more details. I just picked this stamp set, and I want again to add more detail to my background, and it's going to be quite random. I think I'm just going to put some of this distress ink. Don't really care, just adding something more. And I know probably someone is getting really upset that all this lovely soft background is getting covered with all this, but I don't know, I like it. I'm going to continue with it. So I want now this, I've got this spiral, and let's see, maybe this. Again, I'm doing it quite randomly, covering all parts of the background, and switching now to another stamp from this stamp set. as I said, quite random. Yeah. Okay, so got my background with the details and I really like it. Now I want to move on, and I had this image that was just begging to go out, and I was playing with it, and this is done on some trace paper, and of course until I was satisfied, now I want to transfer it here. Now usually I would have used carbon paper, copy paper, whatever you call it. This let's see if I have it here, the black stuff, you know what I mean. But what it usually does is it smears, and I don't want it to smear. So when I want to transfer an image and I don't want a mess, what I do is I flip my design and go in with a 10B or 12B pencil and go all over the lines that I want to transfer, like this. And after I'm doing this, I'm flipping it back, and now I'm just going to take a regular pencil and go over the lines. So now they are transferring to my page. This. So of course I need to go over all of it, and as you can see, it transferred here. So after I'm finished transferring my image, I'll be back. Okay, so got my design transferred. Now what I'm going to do is use a permanent marker to just go over all the lines, and this is just a plain CD marker. It's from the cheap store and it has two sides, one thin, one is a larger tip. I'm thinking of switching to the thicker one. I don't know. Maybe I'll start with this, and if I feel it needs more prominent being on the page, then I will switch and go over with a thicker line. So of course this is going to take me a while to trace everything. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm going to come back when I'm finished going over the lines. I'm back. So I went in with a thicker line for my image, all this. And what's great about the technique I showed you of how to transfer an image is that if I have lines that I don't like now, I can just take an eraser and go and just get rid of them. Something that you just can't do with carbon paper, copy paper, whatever, like this. So now I wanted at first I wanted to cover most of the background with white. Yes, I know, and but now I'm deciding that I'm going differently. I'm just going to take some brush. I have gesso here. It doesn't have to be gesso. I just prefer to use it. You can use white acrylic paint or any light color that you like. It can be anything. And I'm taking water because I want it diluted. And what I'm going to do is I'm going inside the flower, all these areas, and also this area, and here. I'm going to go over with a light layer of gesso. I want only partly to cover what I've got here. It doesn't need to be completely white. I'm using the gesso because I like how it reacts, and that it has a more chalky finish than acrylic paint. Now I'm not really careful here, and if it goes on top of my black line, then later on when it's dry, I will just go over again. And I'm just putting a thin layer, and if I think that it needs more, then I'm going in and adding more of the gesso. But I'm starting very light. So of course this is going to take quite some time, and I'm going to switch off again because it's going to take a lot of time for me and it's quite boring. I just wanted to show you how I'm going about it. And as you can see, it doesn't have to be white. You can use any color you want, and it doesn't have to be any kind of design like I did. You can take a stencil, you can glue anything on and use as a focal point. Just have fun and do what you like. So I'm going to continue, and I'll be back when I'm finished with the gesso. Okay, finished going over the areas that I wanted to cover with the gesso, and now I need to be patient. I need for everything to dry. I want to go over all the black lines, and I also want to add more details with the black marker. So I need for everything to be dry before I'm ruining another marker. So I'll be back. I'm back, and as you can see, I went all over the lines, and well, I was thinking of leaving it as is, but I still want to add details, and I want more details in all this, especially the white areas. So I'm just using the permanent marker and adding some details. Okay, and yeah, and now I want some more. I'm thinking, let's see, I'm gonna do some circles, something like that. Don't know why. Leave it alone, but I can't. This is basically just doodling. And it's gonna take me some time to do all this, but I think it will be worth it. crooked circle, never mind. And I'm going to do this on all the leaves. Okay, I'm really liking it. I'm going to do the same thing here, here, and here, and just maybe add some more detailing to the stem, and just leave, maybe I will just, the flower, I will leave it as is. So I'm going to continue doing this and I'll be back. And here we are. Finished doodling, and I have the gesso here, and I made some corrections. I had some crooked and still do some crooked circles. Never mind, I'm leaving it as is. And I just want to add a little bit of color to my flower. So I'm going to take again the picked raspberry with a Q-tip, and I'm just going in and adding a little bit of color. I can also smear it with my finger, just so it won't stay completely white. I thought about doodling on the petals, but then decided that I'm leaving it as is and just adding a little bit more color. And I know I covered everything with gesso, but that's part of the process. Something gets covered, something doesn't, and sometimes you just go back and add something even if you covered it. So this is it. I really like what's going on here. Turned out better than I thought. So thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving me comments down below. I will put a link below to the Painty papers that I made if you are just stumbling in and you don't know what I'm talking about. So there will be a link to the video how to make the Painty paper that I used for the background. So I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.